Salvador Dali in Paris with a giant 12-meter baguette made in his honor, 1958. Thousands of Union and Confederate Civil War veterans shake hands to honor the fallen and promote reconciliation between former enemies. USA, 1913. British and German soldiers during the Christmas Truce, World War I, 1914. A failed assassination attempt on Hitler occurred in 1944 during a flight from Prussia to Berlin. He was given explosives disguised as cognac, but they did not detonate, and the plane landed safely. Happy New Year, 1907. Execution of a murderer by burying him up to his head, Persia, 1870s. The last public execution by guillotine in France, 1939. Thylacine, the last Tasmanian tiger, 1910s. A woman tries to stop bulldozers from demolishing her home to build a highway. The standoff lasted several days. On August 5, 1958, 5 sheriffs posing as reporters entered her home and disarmed her. The court awarded her $9,000, and the house was smashed to pieces. A Muslim family eating oak leaves during a famine, Russian Empire, 1921. Cormorant fishing is an ancient tradition in Asia. A ring is placed on the bird's neck to prevent it from swallowing large fish. The cormorant brings the large catch to the owner, who takes it and rewards the bird with a small fish. Passengers of the New York subway sitting without newspapers during the citywide newspaper strike, 1953. .US, 1951. Prettiest legs contest. Women wore pillowcases over their heads to keep the focus on their legs. The image of a 21st century man, according to Vogue magazine, 1939. The execution of the former Prime Minister of Nazi Hungary, 1946. In 1941, Winston Churchill came to a photographer with the intent of demonstrating his resolve and determination to fight Nazism. However, the photographer couldn't achieve the desired effect, so he ripped the cigar from Churchill's mouth, which angered him. In the end, the photograph was successful and became one of the most famous images of Winston Churchill. At the peak of his popularity, Charlie Chaplin participated in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest in San Francisco. He came in 20th place. Owners of Turkish taverns hired porters to carry overly drunk regular customers home. 1960s, Istanbul. In 1969, a small group of Native Americans occupied the former prison of Alcatraz in protest against human rights violations in the U.S., holding the land they considered Native American for 3 years. The indigenous peoples demanded honesty and respect from the American government for their tribes. With nylon stockings scarce, women would paint their legs so it looked like stockings. 1940s. White teenagers protesting racial integration in Montgomery, Alabama, 1963. Maggie de la Riva identifies the sons of famous and wealthy men who, feeling unpunishable due to their status, kidnapped and raped her 5 days earlier. Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, the first to conquer Everest, 1953. Beauty pageant winners, Washington, 1922. The mummified monarch and his daughter, who died in 1080, Mont Saint-Michel Castle, Normandy, France. Lumberjacks posing on a giant stump of a sequoia known as Mark Twain in California, USA, 1891. A model is taught the correct way to exit a car, London, 1965. From 1932 to 1945, Japan enslaved over 200,000 Korean women. Ashamed of the past, many of them preferred death or a life in complete solitude, never returning to a normal life. Drug lord and political figure Pablo Escobar in the Colombian Congress, 1982. A man from Ukraine killed and ate his brother during a period of severe famine, Civil War period, Russia, 1921. Children eat turnips and cabbage for Christmas because they have nothing else. Great Depression, USA, 1929. 15th century underwear found during castle renovations in Lengberg, Austria. A sensational discovery in medieval fashion history. The feeling when the Statue of Liberty stands in your backyard, USA, 1930. Residents of Addis Ababa salute an image of Mussolini, 1936. Ethiopia was under Italian rule at the time. John Spears, leader of the Green Corn Rebellion. In 1917, he and 1,000 farmers planned a march on Washington to overthrow the government and end U.S. involvement in World War I. Treadmills were once invented as a punishment for criminals. Convicts climbed 10 to 15,000 meters, which was more exhausting than mine work. In 1932, a terrible famine occurred in the USSR, taking up to 7 million lives. This was hidden from foreigners with shows of full store shelves, and the 1937 census was classified. John the Chimpanzee Croupier, Cosmos Casino, Russia, 1990s. John started as an entertainer and later became a croupier, spinning the roulette wheel with a cognac and a cigarette. Entertaining guests, working in the casino led to illnesses and addictions. The Great Depression of the 1930s put millions of Americans out of work. Many competitors entered grueling dance marathons, sometimes dancing for weeks or months without rest, hoping to win money or secure food and lodging. French cavalry on their way to the front, 1914. This image marks the sunset of the cavalry era as World War I introduced modern mechanized warfare. Harold Gillies is rightly called the father of modern plastic surgery. Thanks to his method of skin grafting, soldiers disfigured during World War I were given a chance at a new life. Ancient ruins of an indigenous civilization, Arizona, 1873. An ancient bloodletting tool from 1850. This practice was common in Europe and Russia until the mid-19th century, and was considered a primary treatment for many ailments. Fashionable women with bronze rings on their necks. Fashionable women in eastern Burma do everything to make their necks as long as possible. German Lieutenant General of Infantry Anton Dostler tied to a post before execution, 1945. A Ukrainian immigrant establishment in New York offering free borscht to celebrate Stalin's death, March 6, 1953. The Last Kiss, 1987. Russian Imperial Army soldiers in gas masks, World War I. French Catholic clergy in Dijon burning an effigy of Santa Claus in front of children in protest against the pagan Christmas, 1951. 28-year-old Jenny Joseph posing for the Columbia Pictures logo, 1992. In 2007, the gorilla Senkwekwe and several others fell victim to the conflict in Virunga National Park, Africa. As a result, authorities enacted stricter laws to protect the park's remaining gorilla population. This 19th century photograph shows an Aztec couple who were the last full-blooded representatives of their people ever captured on camera. Japanese gangsters, Yakuza, 1960. Car washes in the 1920s USA. Police confronting Mike Tyson after he bit off part of Evander Holyfield's ear, 1996. If caught by the police for jaywalking in South Korea, you had to stand in the shame box for 30 minutes. 1970s. Australian soldiers captured in a moment of relief after their liberation from Japanese captivity, 1945. French civilians upon the entrance of the Nazis into Paris during World War II. A copper mask for a war participant, created in an era when plastic surgery was not yet known, 1918. A crowd gathers at an information board showing the names of survivors from the Titanic sinking, New York, 1912. 18-year-old Kesha Thomas protects a fallen man, suspected of having ties to the Ku Klux Klan from an enraged crowd of protesters, Michigan, USA, 1996. Ladies invite their suitors to the white dance, century-old etiquette, 1900. Doctors bow their heads before 11-year-old Liang Yaoyi, who died of brain cancer. Upon learning of his illness, he volunteered to donate his organs to several people, saving their lives. Shortly before his death, he told his mother, "There are so many wonderful people in the world doing good every day. I want to be one of them." Conjoined twins Pip and Flip, popular circus performers, 1923. Frane Salak, dubbed the world's luckiest man, survived 7 catastrophes, including train crashes, plane falls, and car explosions. After cheating death for a lifetime, he bought his first lottery ticket in 2003 and won £600,000. Churchill poses at the entrance to Hitler's bunker, sitting in his chair. Hillary Clinton listens as her husband denies his affair with Monica Lewinsky, 1998. Survivors: a 7760, a 7761, a 7762. This is how the Nazis designated 3 sisters when they brought them to Auschwitz in 1944. Half-naked FBI agent carries $1 million ransom to a hijacked Delta DC-8 jet, Miami, 1972. Between 1971 and 1989, the Aversion Project was implemented in military hospitals in South Africa, which was aimed at eradicating homosexuality. First of all, it is surprising that priests diagnosed the homosexuals. Japanese children at a farewell ceremony before evacuation from Tokyo, 1945. A giant letter M to welcome Mussolini to a small town in Italy, 1938. The military prepares to shoot an elephant that fled the zoo from starvation. Having survived World War II, he died at the hands of the very people he had brought joy to for 30 years. Armenia, 1970. Artist Marc Monnier draws during the Persian Gulf War, 1991, Kuwait. In 1952, Einstein was offered the post of President of Israel, but he refused, citing a lack of necessary experience. Male lipstick tester, 1960s. In the 19th century in England, there was a man with a second face on the back of his head. Edward was an heir to the English peerage in the 19th century. He had an additional face at the back of his head that could not eat or speak, but was capable of laughing and crying. A dancer, behind her an atomic explosion, Nevada, 1950. In 1931, the Bulu tribe of Cameroon, upon learning of the Great Depression in the U.S., raised $3.77 to help starving American families. It is their desire to help that is noteworthy, not the meager sum. A Christmas party in Badagry, Nigeria. A tradition of American military sailors. When crossing the equator for the first time, newcomers had to adopt this interesting pose. 1944. A cemetery of tanks destroyed during the Iraq War after Operation Desert Storm, 1991. The operation resulted in a crushing defeat for the Iraqi army. Estimates vary, but between 25,000 and 40,000 Iraqi soldiers were killed, with another 100,000 wounded. In contrast, the UN Allied forces lost only 400 soldiers. A photo from a New York parade celebrating the end of World War I. A car with captured German carrier pigeons drives past the spectators, 1918. Marilyn Monroe, detained for driving without a license, 1954. An ultralight horse-drawn vehicle in motion in Paris, 1943. Jewish children in Auschwitz hold hands as they walk to the gas chamber, unaware of their fate. A bronze statue of Hachiko at the spot where he waited for his master every day on the day of his death, 1935. This is how the weight of people was once determined. In the photo, a woman from the Tarahumara tribe is being weighed, Mexico, 1892. An Iraqi POW comforts his 4-year-old son in the yard of a dusty prison in Iraq, 2003. Oskar Schindler, the German entrepreneur who saved nearly 1,200 Jews during the Holocaust by giving them work in his factories in Poland and the Czech Republic. The blood-stained chair in which U.S. President Abraham Lincoln was sitting when he was shot in the back of the head by John Wilkes Booth over 150 years ago. A chilling moment frozen in time, just 2 seconds after the atomic bomb detonated over Nagasaki, Japan, 1945. A Japanese brothel, 1890. When the pious Portuguese Christians discovered Japan in the 16th century, they lost their minds over the caresses of the geishas, and in exchange, gifted them syphilis. One of the most influential drug barons in history, Pablo Escobar, at Disneyland, 1981. A pie eating contest, 1937. Improvised cavalry parade in memory of horses killed in World War I, United States, 1917. After the death of the dog Laika in space, women from Mississippi wrote to the UN. They condemned the cruelty to the dog, proposing to use little Negroes from their city for scientific experiments instead. A device to create dimples on the face. The device was designed to make dimples on the cheeks in the style of Marlene Dietrich, 1936. Woman demanding the right to vote arrested, 1914. The First Feminists, 1911. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.